All right, folks. This is my commentary review on my short film, The Dark Shadow, Achibo. It's been an interesting journey. Um, the movie, it's meant to be something that's supposed to recreate an experience I had as a child, a childhood experience. Um, Now, I usually don't like to dabble into matters of spirituality, but then you also can undermine the fact that these things are there, whether it be in terms psychological reflection, or what of view. Achibo has been called many names in the psychological term. But Achibo is just a word coined out of an Igala language that represents a dark being, some kind of spiritual forces that kind of like torment you at night. And in some experiences that I had, I tried to recreate it in this film. So without much ado, let's dive into this film and let's begin to break it into section and technically, actually. Well, now the title scene, as you can see, kind of like gives you a preamble into the film itself. If I should take it back a little, you would you will see some reflection of someone in bed and struggling through, and across, interwoven with some of the text. I try to get you drawn into the film from the beginning, knowing, your characters, knowing that this is a spiritual. You can see someone holding a cross, and you can see someone struggling in bed. Then it kind of like already gives you a preamble into the film without even, within the first few seconds, which is the goal here. And if we get to this part where it has my name and says directed by Sylvester, you will notice that I deliberately let it stay a little bit longer than usual. Normally it would just be a flash, but I decided to let it stay a little longer. The purpose here is because I want you to know my name. I want to inscribe my name in the books of filmmakers. So every time you watch my film, you would come across, my name. Staying a bit longer it's inscribed in your mind that, oh, this film is made by Sylvester. This is the reason I prolonged this a little bit. Let's dive more into it.
Thank you for the food. I'm gonna go after the food.
Now hold there. For this kissing shot, I think I made a lot of mistakes. Not mistake per se. It was more of a learning curve. I should have taken the advice of the professor who says even though you're shooting in the dark, you still have to use light, and then you can then tone down and balance it out. I used just one light here, as you can see, coming from the right hand side of the character. And what I should have done was to probably balance another, high temperature light from the window, or some kind of replicate the moonlight through the window onto the subject. But because this is on a low budget, and I being the director, being the cameraman, and also being the character manager and all that, kind of like put a lot of pressure on me. And I really wanted this movie to stand out. It's just that I couldn't put the muscle together to pull it through the way I really wanted. But yeah, this kitchen shot needed more lighting. And another thing you will notice is that I had the camera on a stand here. Oh no, I think it was handheld, and you would notice a lot of shakiness in this movie. And I'm still learning some techniques to balance this out. Even though I try to use the warp tool, I still couldn't render it properly. But let's proceed to see what's happening next.
Must be a cat.
Okay, hold. Now, this scene here was meant to introduce the character, the Dark Shadow. Um, Again, this is where CGI would have played a good, and if I had a phone, I would have actually paid somebody to help me incorporate that Dark Shadow somewhere. I mean, she was supposed to open the window and there's a dark shadow in there, and the dark shadow would just suddenly disappear, and she would be like, oh, I thought I saw something. Okay, maybe it's a cat, you know. But the intention here was to introduce all characters, including the dark shadow itself. And starting with the basement, the this dark shadow always hides in the dark and creeps from the dark to carry out his acts. So the fact that the door swung open by itself, and then she kind of like, oh, that's weird. She wanted to see what was going on, and that's where I would have introduced the dark shadow. But the techniques I used there was, you'll notice my the Ethan, the child character walked by. He was actually the one that went in and kind of like opened the door and then hid. And I try to play around, try to see how I can use the resource that is available to me, something within my own space to create that act. you know. So let's get into the next part and see what happens more. And here this is her first encounter here. Um, this is our first encounter with the dark. No, well, second encounter rather. Sorry, forgive me. This is our second encounter. The first time she wasn't sure what was going on. Then after taking care of all the stuff, she decided to go to bed. But now, the technical challenge here for me was how to infuse the dark character now in reality, because we need to show some kind of image, something like you remember the scene Dracula. And I wanted to replicate that moment where Dracula was like on top of the lady, and there's a lot of movement, a lot of tension, and you could actually see all that in reality. I couldn't do that, but you will see here I put some kind of low light and allow myself to cast a shadow on the wall. Then I brought that shadow over her here and kind of like tone down the opacity so that you can still see the act, but then the dark shadow is reflecting. Here, the shot here was meant to show, from down up, like from this angle, like you can see. Let me take it back a little bit. Yeah. You see her turning towards Ethan here. Ethan came in and saved the day the first time, because otherwise that dark shadow would have persisted to torment her. The shots, there were two or three major shots that are very important. The over the shoulder shot, and then there's this close up here that you can see. You see the camera zooming into her face, just for you to be able to see the sweat and how she was actually traumatized from that. And then the dialogue continues here. I just wanted to show the trauma using camera angles, here. Again, I should have utilized some kind of light to capture those details, then tone down the light in post. But I did the opposite. I used very low lights, and then probably my camera wasn't set to capture low light in clarity. I was still learning some few techniques. I tried to set my camera so to wide aperture so it can capture as much light in the dark, but then it still came out the way it is. I'm open to collaboration, to learn more of these techniques on the cinematography side here. Let's continue, please. Yeah, now here you see the over the shoulder, but then it's at a low angle because the dark shadow was coming from the ceiling, you know. So I wanted to capture that to give you the perspective of fear.
Like something was just choking me and I would not call for help. I couldn't call for any help.
Now, this is like the morning of. She's recounting the experience to her son, and then suddenly there's a dark shadow in the bush again, following them everywhere. Oh, let me pause here. Now, this was not here initially when I started to shoot this, but I wanted to try my hands on my own kind of animation, CGI kind of thing. I just wanted to introduce myself to seeing, introducing, external shots that are not shot directly from the camera, using computer animated graphic characters. Like here, this image is an image of a masquerade, that I found online, which I credited at the end of this movie. And it's a masquerade from Africa, a dark masquerade, by the way. So what I was trying to do here, I captured the motion, but then I realized that since the original image here, the background image is not stabilized, I couldn't balance the external image with the background. But I wish I could do that because then it will blend into the forest and you wouldn't have noticed, that this is a separate thing. I wanted to replicate that as a dark shadow or a dark image right inside the forest, following them everywhere they go. This was what I wanted to do here, but then I couldn't achieve that here. But hopefully, maybe as I continue to, learn and add more skills to this, I will be able to sometime one of these days tune up this. It's not the end. This is just the beginning for me. So let's move forward, please. Here we introduce the cross. The crucifix, which is what is probably usually known as. Now, you will notice the difference here in the lighting. The first scene shot in the bedroom was more dark. Here, I tried to remember that she was supposed to walk in with the light on and then turn off the light, which I did not. I kind of like mixed that process up. That's where when you have a light person on stage, you have someone handling sounds, you have someone handling costume. This is where collaboration comes into play because as one person, it's hard to actually remember everything. So, but with having a right crew, you can precisely nail it, on every of the every aspect of the project will be properly, handled. Again, we try to capture the details to show that okay, she's now deeply asleep. Here, you see the light goes off. We're supposed to do that, immediately when she went to bed or she reached out. And there you go. And you see, I added some flare here to show some kind of power, light to replicate light over darkness. So that was that scene. And here we added, a scripture quotes that kind of like speak to the movie and the storyline, and then we have all the credits here. And I hope I've been able to entertain you with this short film, and I look forward to showing you more work that I can do, and you would follow me through my journey as we improve on all our skills in delivering high cinema movie.